There's something called a minute relationship also now.
What's that?
Nanoship.
Nanoship.
Within us being together for a couple of months, he was like, let's have a baby. I'm like, what?
She's going to be the first design in Selfridges.
I'll have to fact check that, but I don't think there is.
Gigi, Hadid just wore your clothes. I was just like, wow.
Yeah, it's been a good investment.
Are you vulnerable too?
He's dying now. He's like, please, why are you making me talk about my feelings?
I'm very fragile.
Not fragile. Gets moody but can be fully disarmed with one snack, one kiss.
A kiss can disarm.
One nice kiss from my mouth is good enough.
Cute, you guys. Arjun and Gabby, welcome to my podcast. Thank you for looking so good, and I know you had no part to play in that.
Sorry for looking so shabby and you're very glamorous.
You guys look really good, and I think that's the part that you already know.
Yeah.
Do we?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't think
I hope we're looking good. I have no idea what we're looking like.
And good looking and humble. Okay. I think I want to start with something unique that we never start with. I want to kind of understand what is the personality type of a relationship where there's two extremely good-looking people. I don't mean to objectify all, but it's just a thought that came to my mind right away.
That's an interesting thought. I don't think we've ever discussed that.
It's nice to create a good gene pool.
Yeah, which is flourishing.
Which I can see with my kids. And that's, I think, the biggest benefit of it.
Yeah, those kids are
But how we
exotic.
look, I don't think it's got anything to do with us. If you have to thank anybody, it would be our parents who put us together or how it
Who
worked
came
out.
together.
Yeah, who came together.
Like you guys
and
came
then
together.
we came, yeah.
But I also think, weirdly, it's not something that is like the most important thing for both of us. I know that sounds like a generic answer.
Actually, we don't care.
No, it's not that we don't care, but it's not like I went, I'm going after, him because he's really hot, or I hope he didn't say that about me. I don't know.
What?
No, I went after her because she was hot.
Of course.
Then I realized, there's a little more to it than just the hotness.
Yes.
Okay, well, that wasn't my thought, but anyway.
What was your thought?
I mean, we hung out a bit, and I just, at first I was like, wow, he's extremely good looking, so he's going to be trouble, right? Because generally they are. So that's when I kind of, stood back and just watched, and then I realized there was...
You say generally they are.
I mean, generally men that are very good looking and
they're trouble.
Yes, and especially ones that...
But all your boyfriends are quite ugly.
That's unkind. Didn't you say something about like Saturn and only saying nice things?
I'm joking. I'm pulling a leg. It's my sense of humor. Sorry.
You guys must pull each other's legs.
No, we do. I mean, we do all day. I think, and then I realized that there was a lot of depth behind him, and that's what kind of brought us together.
How did you guys meet?
I think the first time I saw Gabriella was a long, long time ago, when I think she'd just come in, and we were at a friend Rajat Patel's party.
Everyone's been to a Rajat Patel party.
And I was like, wow, she's a very pretty girl. And she was very, very young at that time. So we'd met, I think, first time when we met was at that party, but there was like no...
vibe.
Yeah, nothing. So, and then we'd kind of bump into each other and all of that. And then, yeah. So,
Then what?
We kept bumping into each other more regularly, but always random. It was never, never.
Serendipity.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think I was out of a relationship, she was out of a relationship, and guess we both met on the rebound. Yeah.
I met Arjun for the first time properly at a dinner in Juhu. There was like a restaurant. I don't know if you remember. And we were on two separate tables, and the people on our tables were also from the industry, like directors. I think he was hearing a script, I was hearing a script. So we combined the tables. And all I remember is him asking me to do 100 push-ups and challenging me, saying, can you do 100 push-ups? Like, this is like at 10 p.m. at night. And I'm like, I can do it. And then
did you?
He's like, I tried. Obviously, I can't.
And he's like, that's not a full push-up.
Yeah, he's like, this is not even a push-up. And then he did 100 push-ups, and that was my last...
That's your party trick, baby. You've never shown me 100 push-ups. Can you show me now?
I've aged, babes.
So what's up from then to now? Like, what have I missed? Of course, you met this beautiful girl. You guys have 2 amazing boys. You've moved to Goa.
Yeah.
Your film Dhurandhar is out by the time this podcast is out.
It's out already.
Yeah,
Right
so
now.
it's
yeah.
out today.
It's out today.
So it's an exciting time. What is up in your life? Where are you at? What are you thinking about in life? Where's your journey at?
I think it's more or less kind of playing out the way I would have always wanted it to play out. I myself come from a small town. I've never been like a city person, but I've always loved the city, and I think I loved it too much when I was in Mumbai. And but it can also take a lot out from you. And I just felt like when me and Gabriella got together, COVID happened, and then we couldn't see our kids just stuck in an apartment. So our kid, and so we decided to take like a few months out and take a place in Goa. And I think that's really, really fantastic. I think it's the best thing that's happened to us, to be able to bring up our kids and be able to spend that time with them. I had 2 daughters from my earlier marriage. And at that time, I remember the pressure as a father that you feel is, because you're young, and I was very, very young at that time, that you have to work that much harder
to
secure them, get them all, thing. But in that process, sometimes you kind of miss out on the cutest parts of their lives and their journey. Though, I mean, we took a lot of holidays together and we have a strong bond. But this is very different, where, they're out with nature, they're running, climbing trees, swimming, going to the beach, going for walks, going trekking, not getting scared of bugs. I mean, just little things.
I saw the little one on the beach roaming around naked. Gabs, you make beautiful clothes. You make beautiful children. You make beautiful campaigns. Gabby and I know each other way back. The second film that I did, Sonali Cable, Gabby and I were in it. So Gabriella acted in it with me.
Wow.
And that's when I met her.
If you want to call that acting, but yes, I tried.
You did well.
Yeah, but
You
that
didn't
was
even
like
know the language.
speaking Hindi. It was so bad.
You were so
was
good
very
in
bad.
it. Not a lot of people know about that film, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna get it.
It's made by your very
Her name
good
was
friend
Zuni.
Zuni, yeah. And Ali was in that film
Ali
as well.
Fazal, yeah.
We've all come like 180, 360, 180, 180.
And Deme by Gabriella had not started.
No.
It was just...
Really?
She
Yeah.
used
So
to
that
just...
long
That long ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I
more
think
than a
like-
decade.
Yes, at least like 12 years, I would say, because then I just started Demi.
And Gabby used to just bring like these really cool clothes, make them, and like have exhibitions for her girlfriends. And we used to go. I remember her styling me for one of my first like award shows in one of her creations back then, before the brand was as big as it is now.
Yeah.
But well
we used to
done.
have fun. Thank
Seeing your
you.
journey,
She's going to be the first design in Selfridges.
it's insane.
From
The
India.
first designer.
From India. I mean, I don't know any.
Yeah, the first Indian designer.
Yeah, in Selfridges. So
We'll have to fact check that, but I don't think there is. I know
Gigi
there's some
Hadid
in-
just wore your clothes. I was just like,
I know.
wow,
Yeah.
this is
that was
mad.
exciting. That was pretty cool.
she's killed
It's
it.
been an evolution.
Where are you now?
It's been a good investment.
Where am I now? I think it's strange, but moving to Goa has actually brought me like closer to my work. And I think because for both of us, there's not a lot of distraction besides for the kids and, you know, your family. And we try to keep it like that. And I think it's allowed me to be a lot more focused. I don't know if it's that or being a mother, because, you know, you don't really go out and
Yeah.
party. And so life becomes work and family. And that's really been a game changer for my work. That, or, you know, the fact that it's been 12 years and it's just that stage where I'm due a little bit of success. So
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it's a combination of that, but I think also just focus. Because before I was doing a lot of other things. I was, you know, still modeling. I
Acting.
was trying to do some acting. I was trying to do like, you know, many things. And I mean, like, I think at one point I said to Arj, I either need to do this properly and give up all the other stuff, or figure out a new like career path, like you know,
Fair.
hire me as a scriptwriter or something. But
She was good at that also. She was writing a few scripts in the middle.
we were going through. I was going through that, and he said, you know what, just focus on it a bit more and see where it goes. And I mean, best advice that I've taken was to do that. And then it kind of just exploded in the sense that it went global, which I hadn't even thought of before, right? So we actually found our audience, and we found that it wasn't necessarily in
Just
India.
India, yeah.
Which India is a fantastic market, and that just completely changed the game, right? And from there on, it's been like now just a learning process, the entrepreneur journey. I think the kick and the high that you get from like making it a success is just like
That's
something that money can't buy, right?
So do you guys propagate having children?
Yes,
Yes?
Yeah, for sure.
to everyone.
For sure. Wow.
We're those people that are like not like, you know, polite about like, you know, when are you having kids? It's his favorite question to ask our friends, because I think for me, I mean, he knew before, like within us being together for a
the
couple of
biggest
months.
joy.
He was like, let's have a baby. I'm like, what? A baby? I'd never thought about it before that, right? It would never entered my mind. And it was literally the best thing that's ever happened to me 2 times. It's been life-changing, and that might be selfish, but I think that to experience that unconditional love.
No, I think it completed her as a person. You know what I mean? She realized what creation really is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
That more than creation, unconditional love, I think,
and the
because
feeling of unconditional love.
you can then
towards-
give that to other people, not just
Yeah.
your kids.
Yeah, but like, is it also not hard?
Of course, but anything that is like amazing or is going to be
Has its cons?
I mean, it's
Yeah,
got
right?
a tremendous amount of responsibility
Yeah.
attached to it. You know, it's not hard. It's just like you have to be more responsible. You know, there
Yeah,
are
you have
many
to
more
disciplined.
sacrifices that you have to make at that point in time. But as she said, the feeling of giving unconditional love and loving somebody without wanting anything back from that person is it's really, really a gift. It's
And that translates, I feel like, into the rest of your relationships, right? Because we don't realize, but we do love conditionally, no matter who it is, whether
Yeah.
it's your friends, your partner, whoever, besides your family. Your love comes with conditions. It's like, if this person behaves this way,
Yes.
then they get my
Yes.
approval or love. But when you have a child, you can't do that, right? So it's whatever they do, you're going to love them no matter what. And you're going to help them and try and discipline them and help them be better. But you're always going to love them. So being able to like step back and say, let me offer that to other people in my life.
Because you experience the kind of love.
Exactly.
And another thing, what it brings you, which it did with all my kids, okay, and I mean, when I had Arik, of course, both my parents weren't there, but it happened with Mahika and Myra. You love your parents more because you suddenly realize you were like that with them, you know?
Yeah, and they dealt with you.
And they
Yeah.
dealt with you and they brought you up.
Yeah.
And how much they must have loved
how
you.
much they, not must have, they love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what you do. That support when you lose a parent, nobody can prepare you for. You know, so I always say losing a parent is like losing a limb. You know, you just learn to go, but it's always gone.
God, I
So-
can't even imagine.
Yeah,
It's my
me
biggest
either.
nightmare.
Yeah, so
And he's lost both of his parents. So it's,
so for them to come, Arik and Arif to come back is like, you know, a blessing from them coming back into my life. So children are just miracles. They're
I'm
fabulous.
glad you guys are saying this because, like, even the birth rate in India, like per couple, it's gone down to like 1.7, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, like.
I mean, India shouldn't complain the West.
Yeah.
We have enough population.
But I mean, like any
out
country
here.
wants a younger population, right? We
Yes.
want to keep that
I
going.
mean, we'll have a young population. We were never going to have a problem with
We're not going to have that issue.
producing children.
But you
no,
know,
I think
you know,
our
Netflix-
generation
Indians
is
love
definitely,
children.
I mean, I have so many girlfriends
Who
that
don't
are
wanna
like-
have kids.
They do not want to have kids, and they're
Yeah.
very
Very clear about
very
it.
clear about it, and their reasons are environmental and
And a lot
I
of
mean,
men.
Yes,
too.
a
Like
lot
there are
of
a lot of men who don't want to have kids, don't have responsibility, don't want to be tied down.
But I also feel
Once
like
you
a lot
have
of my
one, then they'll know what it really is.
Yeah.
You know, you should never say never.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
the thing, right?
yeah.
And I think a lot of my girlfriends, they end up, it's because maybe the partner doesn't want to, so they end up convincing themselves like,
They
even
don't
I
want to
don't,
either.
you know? And then you have this whole generation of women that is like, oh, even I don't want to have kids, but I don't know
And
if
then
they
there's this
actually...
whole thing of your whole biological clock ticking and all of
Dude,
that.
Which is nonsense. Sienna Miller is 42 and extremely hot and very pregnant, like right now.
Really?
No, and many of my girlfriends have had
Yeah.
kids at 40.
Yeah.
So that's what
But
I'm saying.
it's not entirely nonsense because it's just, I guess, different bodies.
Yes.
And I think in your early 30s or your late 20s,
It's easy to
easier
come back.
to come back and you
Yeah.
have more energy, which is what my 40-year-old girlfriend say, unless you're really fit, that, dude, I wish I just had this a few years ago because I have to run around him. I have to run behind him. The birthing
Yes.
the child is the easiest part. But this
But
biological
they also keep you
clock,
young.
They
Yeah.
keep you. They keep you active.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
they
felt
keep you
better. I mean, I had RF when I was 36. That's not young to
But
have.
see, Gabs, you're not even the normal body. Like you're the fittest girl I know. Like you've been lifting heavy weight for 10 years, training hard,
Yeah,
doing
it's
yoga,
tough.
everything, right? Like your lifestyle is clean. Like everyone's not doing that. People are eating vada pav at office also.
That's true.
Yeah, no,
And
she
like have
doesn't do
desk
that.
jobs for 14 hours a day, like not active at all.
Yeah.
But I personally I'm always thinking about like whether to have kids. I'm 33
Yeah.
now. It's like, should one have kids? Should one not have kids? Because now I have the company. That's my child too. It requires like me to be there 24/7. If I have a child, does that take away a bit of that? And then there's this whole confusion of men to find the right partner to raise the child
That's the
with
most
you.
important thing.
So there's a lot of this in today's
Yeah.
DNA.
No, but all the questions that you have are very valid, right? There's nothing.
But
not
what do you
valid
want?
about
That's
it.
the question.
Yeah, and I agree. You have to find that one partner who, will parent with
Yeah.
you. You know,
Or it
can't
can be like a girlfriend or a family member. You don't have to necessarily have a partner.
You know, that's the thing. That's where I feel like, sure, that's become
I
the
don't know.
conversation
I
today.
don't know if that works.
I have the best. My dad is my best friend.
Yeah.
And the impact that my dad has had on me has shaped my personality in a certain way that would have not happened if that male figure was not there. My mother has had a separate role,
Right.
which was also beautiful. That's important.
100%.
You know?
But I think we both know a lot of people that have grown up in homes that are not necessarily
Yeah.
the best, and they end up being incredible human
Sure.
beings. So I think if you have one loving parent, amazing. If you have two, fantastic. And obviously it makes the load that much easier. I also feel like with boys, it's very important for them to have that male figure in
Yeah.
their lives. And also they just don't listen to me. So I just have to be like, Daddy's going to get angry, you
So
know?
I become bad cop.
This is my favorite topic. I discuss it with a lot of my guy friends, girlfriends, that men don't feel the validation of the same person stays the same. It kind of, the dopamine hit effect keeps going down. So then while they're in a relationship, they feel like I'm not validated enough, and men more than women in this case step out, or like they want more validation, they want to flirt with someone, or they want to like have another relationship with somebody else. How do you how did you guys both come to that place? You know, it's like you settle. I'm not saying down because I don't like that word, but you settle in yourself, within yourself, and then obviously
Settle
you find a
up.
partner. Settle up, maybe.
I think
It
life
comes from
experience.
experience. Yeah. I think once you've experienced things, okay, in life, and every action has a reaction. So, okay, fine, if I do this, the outcome of this is going to be this. You know, there are going to be repercussions on a particular way. And I think deep down, everything comes from a lot of self-respect. If you respect yourself a lot, you know, and you kind of introspect in yourself and you say, okay, this is a version of me which I'm not going to now, is non-negotiable, which is I'm going to protect it. I'm going to save this. You know, these are qualities in me, these are habits in me, which I really like. And I want to go about life in this way. Now, you know, there's a discipline that comes into your life then. And I think that's very, very important to have. If you don't have self-respect and you don't respect yourself, it will be very difficult for you to be respected in a relationship or any relationship anyway that you go.
You guys have tailored your relationship the way it deems right to you all. You know, it's not under any pressure. There's no like you've broken conditioning and you're like, you know, I'm living my life the way it seems right to me. I personally don't believe that I want to sign another piece of paper in front of the court of the law because that signed quite a few. I just got my passport back. I'm like, now this permission also I'll take from you. I'm marrying this man. What if I want to leave him? They'll be like, no, you can't leave him now. Be with him for 1 year. So I am not personally very hot on marriage. Also, I'm not personally hot on being someone's daughter-in-law.
Right.
That didn't work out for me the previous time. So I don't think daughter-in-law is, I don't want to be anyone's anything in law. Right. But that makes it even more confusing because then you want the child, but you don't want the marriage. How have you guys
You
done
can
it?
have it all. You can have the child and
seems
not
like
have
you
the
guys have it
marriage.
all.
And, you know, I mean, we say that, but yes, it does come with its own set of issues. And like Arjun said very eloquently earlier, never say never. We're not married now, but who knows? You know what I mean?
engaged.
You're engaged?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you want to just break the news?
Congratulations.
Yeah, we broke it on your show.
That's so
But
cool.
for us,
Yeah.
thank you. But for us, I don't think that was the pinnacle, right? So it was like a family. That was very important for both of us. That was very important for Arj. That was very important for me.
See, when you've got kids and, I mean, again, marriage and any rule that is made by society, I think, for me, has got tremendous amount of flaws, right? Because when you sign a piece of paper, you're saying this is permanent and this is forever and, you know, this is how it should be. And how can you... there's no guarantee of permanence in life.
Yeah.
We all are here on a one-way ticket and we're all going to go. So we are not permanent. How can you, make things permanent? But I think to make a decision and to make a commitment and stick with it speaks volumes of your character. That's character building. Okay. And once you're married and once you have a family and you've got the best interest for everybody in that family and you give them a good education about life or exposure towards life in the correct way, you are bringing up and nurturing people in a society which will be progressive, which will be good, which will be a boon for humanity. That's what you want to give back while you're on earth here.
Yeah.
Now, if by getting married, if that's going to help, then you should do it. If by not getting married and having that family and not having that stress, you can do it too. But then is it fair for that little kid who goes to school when other kids are there and even though they have my name and everything to say, but your parents are not married? You know
That
what
happens?
I mean?
Yeah.
It could happen down the line. I mean, right now they're too small to understand that.
But
So I
Arj
think
does call
the
me
reason
Gabriella
why we would
Demetriades.
why we would want to do it also would be from those levels of, ironing certain things out for them. Because, I mean, they don't need to answer those kind of questions. I think... we've had our fill of relationships, so I don't think...
And, prenup.
Yeah. And,
Prenup.
yeah.
No,
prenups are null and void in India.
I know. I heard this.
Are they?
Yeah. According to
Oh, no.
according
I
to the
didn't know
Hindu
that.
Marriage Act, you can't have a prenup.
Really?
And I don't think a prenup even if you do a court registration
Really?
exists in India.
So it's in
Interesting.
favor of whom?
I think it favors the women.
It favors
The one law that favors the woman.
Yeah.
If she's unemployed.
Yeah.
But Gabs, with your empire and stuff, you better be signing.
That's why I want a prenup.
So how do I get an advantage of that? I don't.
But I think, circling back to that, I think for us, it wasn't like something that we had to do. It was something we wanted to do eventually. We were like, come
Yeah.
on. But if somebody had told us you have to do this, that would be like the deal breaker for both of us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference.
It should come
right?
from within.
And with everything in the relationship, right? Like a lot of people ask us, like, when did you guys start dating or when did it become serious? Like, I think I moved in within, the very early stages. And I don't remember Arjun ever asking me to move in. I just kind of like moved in. So everything with us has been like supernatural and easy. So, and I think that's the key because whenever you start putting pressure on anything, right? Like there's a timeline to it, or I have to do this, or he has to ask me this, or I have to, then it becomes not nice. It just becomes not enjoyable.
And how did you guys navigate the whole co-parenting, step parenting, the modern family? I know the girls and Gabby really get along. I see them on her Instagram all the time. I'm sure they're very excited that they have access to Deme, all the clothes.
Parenting is the hugest challenge in the world, okay? Because from little things who just have to be clutched onto you and are always hanging around you, and you are their everything. You know, when they get their little wings and they start to fly out of your nest and experience life and their friendships and, their traumas and all of that happen. Okay, you suddenly become kind of an observer from, observing. Obviously, they know that you'll have their back always. But, it's not easy.
Their view of you
It's a different
changes, right?
relationship altogether. You cannot say that pressure's on her or on me or whatever. It is
Equal.
a relationship that is in an evolving stage, because they're changing every day. Like my daughters, as they grow up, they're changing. They have different kind of conversations.
I'm sure they have boyfriends and things.
They have their boyfriends, they have their friends, they have their own world, okay? And you are not really very welcome in that world thing, which all of us have gone through in our lives, right? Where from being stuck to your parents' hip, when you get this independence and you fly out and you're like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah, don't tell me what to do.
And then you go a little bit ahead, and then when you have your child, you realize again, oh wow, this is how it was for my
And then you
parents as
appreciate
well.
the
And then you
little-
appreciate them more, and then you come back. So I think my relationship with my children will always be something that evolves. She's going to realize that as her boys get bigger. Okay, with Mahika, Myra, and Gabriella, touch wood, I mean, they all got along really, really well, and because
Again,
they can
because we-
talk to her like a friend.
Yeah.
Thing. Even though I want to be that friend, somehow I think I have to evolve myself more. I'm too old-fashioned for that.
No, I don't think it's that. I think that kids will always look at their parent as their parent until the parent becomes the friend again.
Yeah.
You have that like 14 to 20 where it's like, oh my God, my parents,
And I think I'm reaching there with my daughters now. So, it's going to be a different relationship. It's not that, little baby anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to also acknowledge that. I have to also kind of adapt myself to that. So it's all a process of...
And they've been amazing through all of it.
Yeah,
because we
amazing.
also
And super strong.
Like everything, we've not been like prescriptive, or we've not been like, you have to be this way. You have to respect Gabriella. They don't have to. They have to have a relationship with me. And if they like me, great. And I'm their friend. Yeah, that's it. So I think we were very clear on that there's no pressure from them, and let them in their own time. And I think everyone's kind of settled into a nice rhythm, and they're fun, lovely girls. And I think that I'm Gen Z, so, I'm in with all the lingo and the understanding.
Oh, she loves all that. Yeah.
I'm like still 25 in my head, babe. I have to be reminded.
What is going on with the Gen Zs though? Like I work with a whole bunch of them at Chapter 2, and like they have a completely different love language, relationship ideologies.
Everything.
There's something called a minute relationship also now.
What's that?
I don't know if you have a relationship with someone for 10 minutes.
Huh?
Yeah, there's a term for it. I don't even know what that term is. Any Gen
A
Zs?
10-minute...
I think they have Nanoship.
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 Yeah.
What is that?
That's a relationship for 10 minutes or like a few minutes.
I love
And what
how- but
happens in that
I
relationship?
love how they term everything though. Like everything has a
As
term.
a word.
I don't
For
think
a-
we
for
did that,
a-
did
for
we?
a
So you're in
generation-
love for like 10 minutes and then you're out of
Yeah,
love.
or that's what it is?
Situationship.
A small situationship is a nanoship.
Situationship.
Okay.
For a generation that hates labels, they seem to be coming up with a lot of names.
I mean, they need their own dictionary for sure. And I think there's some amazing things about Gen Z, but there's some very like interesting takes, especially working with them, which I've realized.
They don't believe in like this
No.
hustle, like, oh, we need to just work like 20 hours a day. Like if someone gave me a task at work, if I didn't complete it, I wouldn't sleep.
Yeah.
They'd be like, you know, I was out.
It's good though.
It's
Is
good
it?
in a way.
Because a job is what in Hindi? Naukri.
Yeah.
आप क्या बन गए नौकर? Oh, you know what I mean?
agree.
That is what happens with a job. I think that's what Gen Z is kind of trying to break. And I feel
They're teaching
why
us
not?
something. Yeah.
Why not? Because you spend 20 hours to make somebody else really, really rich or wealthy, okay? And you're very intelligent. And this generation of kids is got so much more exposure than we ever had. But if they can find a good balance between the two, I think it'll be a world of complete entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Where people are very self-sufficient. They will work however much they want to work, and it doesn't mean you have to make billions.
But they
Yeah,
don't seem to be
you can just be
interested.
happy.
They
You
don't
know.
seem to be interested in making money either.
We
It's
all
not like you
work-
can throw that
we
at
all
them
have
either.
grown up with the pressure of money is very important. But as you grow and as you evolve in life, you realize it's important, it's very important.
It's not the
to,
only thing.
Work hard enough where it helps you to say no.
Yeah. Guys, we have a interesting game for you all now. I'm going to ask you a few questions.
We're very competitive, so be careful.
All right.
Let her win.
It's all the unglamorous secrets, like all of the stuff that you only get to know if you like share a bed, you share a bathroom, and you share a
Oh.
bad mood with like a partner. Only then you can know this about them. It's called the intimate inconveniences.
Okay.
It sounds raunchier than it is.
Yeah.
Intimate
Baby?
inconveniences, there are
Yeah.
quite a few.
No.
Okay, so you
You're
have
not
to tell
allowed to
me which of you does this, essentially. Okay? Gets
Sexually.
moody but can be fully disarmed with one snack, one kiss, or one sentence.
Me, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Him?
Yeah, a kiss can disarm pretty much anything.
Yeah.
For me, it's the snack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
See
he
the mouth, one nice kiss from my mouth, it's good enough.
cute, you guys? Sends texts that absolutely cannot be shown to anyone.
No,
Text
we don't
messages.
text.
You all live together, so
Yeah. I mean, we do, but like,
No.
Arj is the cutest texter on the planet.
Yeah?
Yeah, he uses no punctuation, so you have to just decipher for yourself what tone
Are
it
you
is.
coming or not? Tell me now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know the answer of this one, but gets the other person late to joint commitments.
Yeah, I mean, I have no comment.
Why not? You must comment.
I guess I get her lead. But
Not that often.
I think both equal. I think it's equal.
Oh my God.
Huh? Oh my God.
Baby.
Well-
I literally lie. I'm like, we have paddle at 4, but it's actually at 5.
So,
Or
that's what I meant. Paddle or,
anything.
Sure.
But then,
party
but
or
having
whatever.
said that, like
If you're
it's
going
like a
out for
dinner,
dinner.
and it's like his friends, whatever, he'll make sure that like he's on time and I'm like still getting
for
ready.
work, I'm always on time.
Yeah, but for like all of the other stuff, like the
But if I'm working and she's has to get me delayed, she does.
you delay him.
Yeah.
Never,
Oh God.
never.
Gabby seems very punctual types.
I am very. Especially
She
for
might
paddle.
not just show up on me. Okay. Yeah. She'll say yes, yes, and she'll not show up.
No, for social stuff, yes. I'll see you there, and then I'm
Yeah,
going
you
to see
can't
my
say
bed.
no.
So I do that, but which is not a great habit of mine. But I have a problem saying no to friends. So I'll say yes.
No
and
problem basically with no.
Then, yeah. But what I'll do is I'll say yes, but then I just won't do it, or I'll say yes
Which
and I
is
won't
worse,
show up, which
right?
is worse.
It's fine. What are Arjun's problems if these are yours?
He doesn't have any. He's perfect.
All right.
Okay, we continue this. I still remember we need to figure out Arjun's problem too. Arjun, you're
Yeah.
sounding too good to be true. So green flag, like
What?
yeah, like all women are gonna expect men like you. Good
No, no,
looking,
no.
also green flag.
Not only green flag.
Like,
He's not a red flag for sure. He
Yeah,
is a
clearly
green flag.
not.
Arj is a green flag.
but what are the yellow flaggy
Yellow
parts?
flags? Arj has a massive OCD. So he's very particular. And I'm like the complete opposite, right? My clothes will be lying all over the floor and I'll leave the toothpaste thing open. And these are all for me.
Just shut the cap.
He's getting angry already about the cap.
Yeah.
And so this is the one point in our relationship that is like a bit of a niggle because his expectations of like cleanliness and neatness and, are here. And for me, it's
So
not the
these are
most
all
important thing.
disorders, right? People have disorders. Like,
It's not a disorder. It's
It
good
is.
to be clean.
no, but see, it also comes from.
Control.
I was reading it somewhere. It comes from a trauma, some kind of a trauma, where things have not gone according to plan. So you start becoming that planner. to
Control,
make
right?
sure-
You wanna make sure this
yeah,
is-
that everything is like bang on time. It gives you a sense of authority on at least what is in your control.
I mean, you're talking about everything in life that you're OCD about. Closing the door at a particular level
Oh,
of... Yeah.
that's hard, Arjun.
Yeah, that's hardcore. So that's his only
Why would you
tip.
slam a door?
Why would you close the
Like,
door
why
in a
the bam?
particular
Like,
way?
why would
Yeah,
you
you
do
have to
that?
Yeah.
Oh, that gently.
Yeah.
No, not that gently. I'm like, shut the door.
Who's calmer on the outside and crazier on the inside?
Him, because I'm crazy on the outside. Like, I'm perpetually like, bleh.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, like, as in I wear my heart on my sleeve, right? So
I don't think we both are calm though.
No.
I mean, we both are fire signs.
You
You know what I
both
mean?
come across really calm individually and
Yes,
together.
to other people, but in our house together, we are both...
We're fire signs. So, I mean, it's always, I'm all about adventure. She's all about, exploring
Doing
as
more
well
things.
and doing all of that.
And it's like I'm never keeping my feelings from him, right? So if anything is going on in my life, he's the first person to know. So I'm like blabbermouth, don't stop talking, and then vice versa. If there's a problem between us, I can't shut up. I'll have to blabbermouth. So there's no one that's
We can
like
come after 3 weeks also. Oh,
2 weeks. I have a 2-week limit.
no. Do it like,
Okay, who's more romantic amongst the two of you?
Ooh,
romantic,
you.
definitely.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
Is he romantic in theory or also in practice?
Both.
What do you mean theory and practice?
Like, oh,
Some people like the idea of being romantic, like they'll say romantic things, and then some people actually do romantic things.
no, he doesn't say romantic things. He does romantic things, and
Shouldn't? Are they more like you? Out there?
My boys are
Your boys.
growing.
I'm auntie to them. Wow. Good looking, romantic, green flag. Very
I
impressed.
add the OCD to the listener to make women's expectations grounded.
One small
OCD
thing
तो
we
होना
can-
चाहिए.
OCD होना चाहिए.
Yeah.
As long as MCP नहीं है, कोई भी पी ले लो, हमको चलेगा. Okay, who forgets like important dates and stuff, but remembers every single argument like from the past?
There. She wins it.
Do I?
Yeah, you win.
You?
She remembers. I forget.
But that
And
that I
then
also
she's like,
don't
"Tell me what." I was like, "Oh God, what was that?" I'm trying to remember, but she'll know details.
Yeah, I think between us, but then in terms of like life in general, I'm a bit forgetful. So I don't know why, but he gets that side of me. But when it comes to other things, then I can be a bit forgetful.
Do you remember your first fight and all like that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She'll
Oh, yeah?
I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't remember that, but she'll remember it, and she'll bring it up.
Because I'm the kind of person that wants to sort everything out right now. So if you and I have an argument, I'm like,
I
come
feel
on,
you.
we have to sit, we have to talk about it right now until it's either like we're arguing more or we've sorted it out. Whereas he will like to be calm afterwards and not talk and think about
Brush it.
it and whatever, and then not speak about it forever. And then,
That's
you
just
know,
men and women though, right?
that's true.
Is it?
Men are
Yeah.
slightly
Thank
more
God.
avoidant.
I thought there was something wrong with me the way she keeps attacking me.
No, men hate talking about
Yeah.
feelings, and
They do. You have to drag it out of them.
it's so difficult.
Drag it out of them
Yes.
and all. Like this is like
Yeah.
It's true. Or I have to
just let the man be.
No, but if you're with the man and you're living with the man and something that they do or say is affecting you, you have to communicate, right?
Yeah.
If
Correct.
you let it be, it's not getting fixed.
See, I think for Arj, he thinks once a fight is over and we've kissed and made up, then it's done, right? And we don't have to discuss it further. And I
Yeah,
think,
but why do you have to discuss it
which has
anymore?
its merits, because in his mind, he's like, we fought about it, it's done, we've forgiven each other, right? But I wouldn't want to get into the granular of why that happened.
Yeah.
And how do we fix it going forward? So I think
feel you.
that's maybe a female characteristic, I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Are you vulnerable?
He's dying now. He's like, please, why are you making me talk about my feelings?
Huh?
Are you vulnerable to her? Like as a partner?
I'm very fragile.
Not fragile. Fragile and vulnerable are two very different.
I think so, yeah. I think I have enough trust in her, which makes me automatically vulnerable.
You share like your insecurities.
I've like, a man's pride lies in his woman, so, and that makes him vulnerable. So,
Dialogue बोला है.
Really?
All
Well,
the
how-
women
how-
watching, don't start expecting a man like Arjun Rampal because this is few and far. Like, don't build up your hopes just because he's saying all of these.
no, but it's true. I mean,
No, I believe you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is not the standard out
I'm
there.
speaking on a
On your
man's behalf.
On men. On the behalf of men.
They all are like that.
No, I wouldn't say that all are like that. I
No.
think we've had our fair experiences
Yeah.
of men that are not like that. But I think we've evolved to that stage as well, right? Like it wasn't that immediately, you opened up and let me in on all of your, deepest darkest. It's happened with like trust and time and now I can just see it on his face.
I think both of us are. I think when you're in a relationship with each other, you like it or you dislike it, but you end up becoming vulnerable to each other.
Fair.
So
If you're-
Otherwise, Gabriella will drag it out of you.
yeah.
I'll sit on top of him and until he
And I
spits
think
it
that's
out.
in any kind of relationship, even
Fair.
if it's a friend or it's
Yeah.
a colleague or whatever.
Yeah.
Because
With your
as the minute
parent,
you
with
are
your
putting
brother, with
trust
your-
into somebody, you
Naturally become.
already become invested.
Okay. Who falls asleep faster than the other and snores like their spirit animal is
No,
attracted?
I fall
No,
asleep.
I will snore, but she
Yeah,
will
so this is a
fall
divided
asleep.
one. I can fall asleep anywhere at any time.
That's a
but
gift.
he can sleep in. I can't sleep in because now that like maternal clock thing has happened, so I wake up like super early.
For
So
the
I
kids.
can't have a late night because then. But I can fall asleep at 7 happily on the couch while he's put a movie on.
And you snore.
Yes.
I don't know. That's what she tells me. But
If he's on his back, if he's on his side,
Fair.
no.
yeah.
Ladies,
Okay.
Number 2.
Number 2. I think they'll happily take all these tiny flaws of
snoring can
Arjun
be fixed.
Rampal. Who has a much bigger heart than they let on but will deny it even as they're doing something adorable?
No, I think we both have large hearts. Gabriella is extremely generous.
I think so.
Yeah,
From
she's
what I
very,
know
very
of her.
generous. She's
No, but I think I think from what I understood from the question, people might think that he is more guarded, but he actually is like extremely large-hearted and actually a very like open and very loving person. But when you look at him, you think, okay, he looks like, quite cold and scary. And
is that so? That's what I look like.
I think like, tall,
I mean,
dark, handsome men will
yeah, you have
automatically
that,
not,
grungy vibe.
yeah.
So it takes a minute. Like when I speak to you, then I know, okay, like he's super chill, super easy.
Oh, okay.
But also the films you've done, like Daddy and then like Hard Guy, like,
okay, okay.
like you have that vibe.
That's not me.
That's
No.
not who you are.
Yeah.
No.
No.
It's a teddy bear.
Oh, cute, you guys. You gave me like corniness. Okay, so I want to quickly move into a topic, a subject that's close to my life now. Fashion. You've been India's OG supermodel. Actually, you've had a very interesting career, Arjun. Very few supermodels have gone and won a national award for like good acting work. Like you transitioned from that to this very seamlessly. But you've been around, and have you seen a shift in the male gaze, like in terms of in fashion for men? Like, what do you think was different then, and what do you think is different now? Like the expectation of men, how should they be, dress up? What?
I think it's changed tremendously.
Yeah.
When I started modeling, it was in the very nascent stages of the industry. It was growing. It was coming up. The designers weren't like that big designers. The photographers were always experimenting. We shoot on film. It was not digital, and so you'd have to wait for those contact sheets to come out and then see it through the magnifying glass.
Oh, wow.
It was so expensive to make one print.
So you had to
and
get
so
it
you
right.
had to, if you had to get that portfolio and your book absolutely bang on, so you had to go there and very meticulously choose from that contact sheet which print you would make and how it would print out and everything. So there was a lot of involvement, I think, from a fashion perspective that I grew up under. So that influences you. So the photography, the styling, the lighting, what you're wearing, how you're wearing it, what you're trying to do in it. So that photograph had to speak to you, So, and I felt like men at that time who were models were men. If it was a Milind, a Rahul, Mark, or whoever that was there. And or even internationally, if there was a Marcus Scheckenberg or a Mark Vanderloo or Joel or whoever, or Alex, all these guys were the supermodels at that time. And that time there was this era of supermodels. Now when you see guys on the runway, they're really, really thin, they've got they have to be a particular size for some reason. And I understand where that comes from, because when designers started getting recognized, they didn't want to hire models who already were personalities or had this status of supermodels, was that people would come to watch them in the show instead of the clothes. And that, I think, internationally kind of changed from the late 90s to, say, the mid-2000s, when that transformation started to happen. And by 2010, it was gone. And but I learned a lot about fashion because it was really, really exciting. We were really experimenting a lot. So creatively, we were really, it was really enjoyable. Now, I mean, I detest photo shoots, it's very difficult for me to be thing. When I started acting, I realized I have to stop modeling, because when I saw my rushes for the first time from this film Moksh, I said, why am I so stiff? Because what happens is you've trained yourself in the same environment, the camera's making the same sound, okay? The commands are the same. So you've disciplined yourself and you made a habit in reacting in a particular way in front of the camera.
You get used to
Whereas when you're acting, you've got to forget the camera, you have to be the character. So it was not a smooth transition, as you said, because I have been called a piece of furniture to everything, and from initially when I started acting to really, really understanding the craft. And I'm glad that I got that many chances. A lot of people maybe would not have had so many chances as I got. But
you evolved also as an actor.
Yeah, but they allowed me to, and there were people who trusted me and believed in me and gave me those chances time and time again. And I started realizing what I wanted from it. And when you start doing it purely from, getting into a part and really letting yourself go into it and trusting and submitting and giving yourself in, you come up with something special.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I don't think that people gave you those chances. You also took them, right? You've also carved a very special place for yourself in an industry that's tough.
Yes.
And tough to outsiders and tough to people that don't have,
And he's been relevant for decades.
So I think you're giving a bit
Usually
too much
there's a
credit.
peak and then there's a...
So you go up and down like that.
But
That's
you've been there. Like everybody knows, everyone in this country knows who you are. And people have seen either your work or remember you as a model, or they know you.
Yeah.
They know you. They know that. But Gabs, I wanted to come to you. I love what you do with Deme. And like I said, I was an OG Deme girl. And every time I wear an outfit that she creates, I feel really feminine. There is a female gaze to the way you design clothes. It makes me feel really feminine and sexy, which is not very common.
Which is exactly what I want you to feel. So that's great to hear.
Yeah. But what is it? Like, what is the difference in your gaze today versus when you started? And how do you think that's evolving in the world of fashion, internationally, in India? What is that place you think fashion and you are at?
I think a lot of what Arjun said with getting a lot of chances, and maybe I've given them to myself or maybe I've taken them, And I feel like a career is your life, right? And it spans, you can't do anything in a year or 2 years or 3 years. You have to give yourself that time, and you make a lot of mistakes, and you can look back with a lot of regret on things that you've done and think, God, I wish I knew better, but you didn't at that stage. And I think what I have done is learn on the job, which is difficult to be in the public eye and learning. I'm a woman and I love clothes, right? And that for me is the number one thing, is making beautiful pieces and
That you would want to wear.
Exactly. Everything that I make, I'd want to wear, or I would wear at some point.
She loves the women's silhouette.
Yeah,
She
I
loves
really
it.
do. And I think that
She really loves the feminine
It
silhouette.
is a beautiful silhouette.
Yeah,
and
it
making
is,
women
yeah.
feel beautiful. And when you put something on, that feeling of like, oh, this is just like right in all the right places. And I think also growing up, you know, your body changes. I've had 2 kids. I've been through pregnancies. My body's gone from 80 kilos to 50 kilos. So being able to design from that point of view, like, oh, some women are not comfortable with certain parts. That's evolved for me a lot. And I think that's where people have resonated a lot, because before it was like, you know, oh, maybe this is a fit girl brand or a skinny girl brand. And now it's an every girl brand, because I've been every girl.
Yes.
And I think that helped me a lot. But I think more than anything is just evolving and staying in the game and trying, you know, like
Not
trying
giving
harder.
up.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
I think
Yeah.
that the most important thing is to stay consistently
Whoever
at it.
stays
Yeah.
consistently wins
In anything.
in some way or the other.
Yeah, because you
anything.
want to give up 100 times during that period, right?
Yeah.
And so many times I've wanted to, and I've had great people along the way, from, you know, Arjun to my parents to friends to girlfriends, who have just been like, absolutely not, like, you have to do this. And I think it's not just like a one-man show always, right? You
Yeah.
have that support system, and
It
without
takes
that,
a village.
yeah, and even now, like my team is so incredible. I get to live in Goa, and I have, you know, 100 employees in Bombay.
Yeah.
And they're kind of
How do you
running the
manage
show
that?
very easily. You
Because
know,
they've been with you for so long.
that
That's
and like
where
now,
technology comes in, also,
systems
right?
in place, and you know, so many things that
Maybe we would not have been able to do this, say, 15 years ago.
No.
Right? Or 10 years ago.
I had to do the
But look at
grind
how much
first, right?
technology has evolved, which
Yeah.
allows you to do that. So you,
Maybe I'll join you. I'll be your neighbor in Goa soon.
Yeah,
yeah, you should.
If I can get my systems in place for once. It
exactly. You
Yeah.
know,
takes a
that's
bit of
the-
time though, as we are still relatively
Also,
new.
I think what's important when you do businesses or anything in life, okay, when you go into micromanagement, you're going to create complete havoc for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do it on a macro level, but hire the right people to micromanage. You
and
know?
take the right
the
advice from the
person
right
who
people.
is like both of you, you know, you have a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You go into micromanagement, you'll drive the team mad also, and you'll drive yourself mad.
Yeah, you have to just let
You
it
know?
go.
Or
so
even
let
if
it
I have
be.
to do something, you know, if I'm producing a film, I can't go into the micromanagement of it. That you have to have a skill set to do
It's
that.
a separate skill set.
It's a separate skill set, and
Yeah.
you need to find those right people to do that,
Which is very
and
important.
incentivize them properly. You
In
know,
In business,
not
I
just
think
give
that's
them
the
a
main
salary.
thing.
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
Incentivized.
Make them part of the
finding the
business.
people that you can surround yourself with that are enablers and that are good at the things that you're not good at. And I think, you
So
know,
when you grow, as long as you're growing and people are growing
Yes.
with you, is a win-win for everybody.
That's exactly how we run Chapel.
Yeah. So
It's
you
a
should
family.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I think.
As much as I've enjoyed this conversation, I don't want to let you guys go. I know that we all have other things
Yeah.
scheduled for today. I'm getting a timer alert there. I want to ask you a last question. In your future, together and individually, what do you hope that the person sitting next to you will grow into?
I think as long as you grow together, it's important. I think that's the key.
You don't wanna grow apart.
Yeah, you cannot. Yeah, you can't let yourself say become this person or become this person or
Yeah.
whatever we're meant to be, we are going to become. You know, and you help each other grow, and you're part of that growth. I think that's good.
and I think accepting the person for what they're growing into, because, you know, the person you were 5 years ago might be very different. He might get irritated with the fact that I want to sleep at 7 and, you know, I want to
Sure.
wake up at 6 and I've become like a full, like, you know, mommy. But he's not being
But I wake up at 6 and go to sleep by 2.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
unconditional love. I think that's where it comes back to for me, is just allowing the person to be, which I am not saying that I'm perfect at, like I'm definitely practicing, but I think that's very important.
Next time we come for season 2, then
We'll tell you, we'll update you.
Maybe 20 years from now, if this podcast is still here.
Yeah, we'll do a
We'll see
review.
where everyone's at. But I'm definitely taking a note from your playbook. I think that you guys seem to have found something that's quite beautiful, and I'm really happy.
Thank
Thank
you.
You
you.
guys happy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming.
It was
been a
great.
pleasure.
That was a fun
Lovely.
podcast.
Yeah.
It was our first podcast together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our first interview together.
Thank you so much.